Here, I'll ask you while you're here, Matt, because when we were on the column, I had some questions about it. I'm trying to think of how exactly it was worded. It was pretty much everything that. No, fuck, I don't. Can you word the first premise and let me see if I can either confirm that's what we were talking about or.
Yeah, everything that begins to exist is a cause of its coming into existence.
Yeah, how does one establish that everything that begins to exist has a cause?
It's based on the
Even things outside of time and space. How would you
it's
establish
based
that included?
it's based on the causal principle. Out of nothing, nothing comes. So a causality would be counterintuitive, for example. That something can just pop into existence without any cause. So if something begins to exist, it has a cause. That's causality. And
Right, but if it begins to exist, and this is just going along because I don't think the universe necessarily began, but if the universe began to exist, what did it begin to exist out of? Not matter and things, but what was there for it to begin to exist out of?
nothing.
But you said it's on the principle that out of nothing, nothing comes.
Yeah, but out of nothing, nothing comes would mean that if you have absolutely nothing, complete absence of any something, you would not get something. With the universe coming into existence from nothing, you don't mean the complete absence of any something. You're talking about the complete absence of any prior material. You have something, something that, if causality is true, there must have been something that brought that universe into existence.
Yeah, but does causality hold atemporally?
Why not?
I'm asking. That's something it would need to substantiate.
It doesn't need to substantiate it. There's no reason to believe it doesn't. The same as the law of I mean, that's like asking, does the law of contradiction hold without the universe? Does the law of identity hold without the universe?
Well, if you were stating that it does, you would need some way of arguing for that, and that's
You're
what you're
not.
saying.
No, you're putting forward a principle and you're saying there's no reason to think that this isn't the case. So you go with what there's no reason to think. It's like uniformitarianism. Uniformitarianism is an assumption that the future will be the same as the present or the past, and we've no way to confirm that, but we have nothing that's contradicting it, so we go with it. The same as properly basic beliefs.
May I throw something into this? If you pay attention to Genesis, the creation of the world isn't what you necessarily think. Uh, it's actual geometry that they're talking about. Uh, First, you have the void, there was nothing. Then he said, let there be land or something like that. It was the first circle. Then you have light, which is the second circle. Now you can see, which comes out with an eye. It's all geometry when you really pay attention.
Yeah, that's an interesting claim. Unfortunately, it's a claim you can't substantiate with evidence.
The biblical account starts off with a primordial ocean, and then God makes room for Earth by dividing this primordial ocean up.
Well, I would object that it describes relatively typically some kind of relationship between events embedded within, well, time and space in the universe. But go ahead. it's the structure of these series of events, right? Connection between them.
But I think if one wants to say atemporal causation isn't a problem, you would at least need to have an coherent account of what atemporal causation could be.
The only thing I can think of is different systems, like enclosed systems or whatever, and then the text just not indicating or specifying that that's the case.
Atemporal causation is a contradiction in terms.
I thought Xbox just asked you about atemporal causation. You said you didn't see a problem with it.
Like if God was outside of time, the only way I can imagine that's the case is if time is like a stopwatch, and God can wander over and pick it up and turn it on and start time, but he's not bound to it, sort of. But the people writing about it, they didn't think that they would have to write about God's perspective on time. They just wrote that within our contained version of time, he's outside of it. That's the only thing I could possibly think of to square it away.
The Bible just says God is eternal. They don't give an account of how to cash that out. That could mean that God has an infinite past, or it could mean God is atemporal.
Yeah, but you could use that to square away the like the Big Bang Theory. Like if you're trying to think about what could happen before we can start registering time.
The Calum cosmological argument's not predicated on the Bible.
I generally don't think there is time when you don't have physical movement. Like I think the fact that the only way we can actually measure the passage of time is by physical objects moving is indicative that that's how time is constituted.
I think movement presupposes time, because anything that moves has a speed, and speed is distance divided by unit of time.
Yeah, but I think that's only comparative to other objects moving. So like we would have no like if everything moved at the same speed, we'd have no real justifiable way of determining speed, I imagine. So that's why like even our calendars and everything is all based
Whether
around.
or not we could determine speed is regardless of whether or not movement presupposes time.
How does it presuppose time? What do you mean when you say that?
Because anything that moves has a speed, and speed is distance divided by unit of time.
What's a unit of time? I've never heard of that before.
Like in seconds or hours or something.
Yeah, but seconds and hours, those are all just records of something moving.
No, those are units of time.
I don't know what that means.
Just like an inch is a unit of distance.
Hey Xbox, you there?
Yeah, but if everything stands still, are you trying to say like if we got to like the heat death of the universe and everything was perfectly still, do you think time would still be going?
I'm close if you needed something. I'm doing something with my family, but I can still hear y'all.
Oh, read the side chat. I just came to talk shit for a little bit.
Oh, right on.
Well, I think temporality is something that's built into our cognitive faculties.
All right, later, guys.
Later, Odian. Yeah, so built into our cognitive faculties, I suppose, yeah, maybe. But do you think that do you think there would actually be time that's still going on?
I'm saying if there were no minds, I don't think there would be time, because I think time are built into cognitive faculties as being a necessary precondition for having them.
That's a ridiculous argument, and that's to say that before the Earth existed, there was no time. That as the Big Bang, when the Big Bang started when the expansion of the Big Bang started, when there was no minds, there was no time. Absolute nonsense.
Well, you don't really understand the view, and I don't remember trying to give an argument.
You made a ridiculous statement that time requires minds.
I was saying that temporality being built into cognitive faculties are a necessary precondition for having them.
Not necessarily. That isn't what you said. First of all, that's just a rephrasing of what you said, given the exposure of your ridiculous statement that I'll be happy to post for you on Google Plus once I edit it and post it, and then show how you deceptively try and change it when the ridiculousness of what you said is pointed out to you. I'll call it I won't call it Darwin's deity. I'll call it the Pal Talk idiocy. How about that? Pal Talk idiocy. I'll start a special collection just for you idiots, and you will get the first. You will get the first.
I'm the one that's the bully.
You will have the grace of being the first individual posted on it. How about that? Let's start that today.
Right, Matt, and I'm the one that's the bully. That's why you said you wouldn't debate me before, right?
How holds Immanuel Kant's transcendental idealist view on space and time? For an introduction to transcendental idealism, click here. For an argument for Kant's view on space, click here. For why a transcendental idealist would say there was time at the Big Bang, click here.
And what's our present relationship between Ozymandias and myself?
Because you decided to correct your behavior. Why don't you correct your behavior with everyone?
Because well, first of all, with Ozymandias.